CNBC.com's Christina Farr is here with some exclusive details on one company getting a huge new funding round. Chrissy?
Hey, Kelly. Yeah, the latest company to raise financing in my space is Omada Health. They just pulled in about $57 million, and they used that fund to buy a company, Fizera. So this is some news that almost seems normal in the midst of a pandemic and also a recession. But digital health is doing extremely well right now, and Omada is not the only company raising money. They tell me and others that investors are calling them up, constantly wanting to put their dollars into the space because people don't want to go to a doctor on site right now. They want to use their smartphone, their laptop to seek medical care. And these problems aren't going away just because we have a pandemic.
We have a couple of big publicly traded companies, Teladoc especially comes to mind. You know, there's companies, ZocDoc, who are trying to now incorporate more visits into their technology and so forth. How is the landscape kind of shaking out? Is it still a lot of small players? Do you think that we might see a lot of consolidation here? Because, again, you're absolutely right. A lot of people are using this for the first time amid coronavirus.
Yeah, it's a great question. So a lot of these companies actually got their start more than 10 years ago, and growth was fairly slow just because healthcare is one of those sectors that is extremely challenging to break into. For a long time, some of these companies weren't actually able to get reimbursed for these medical visits that were online. That has drastically started to change because the federal government has just loosened up all the rules and regulations around telemedicine and basically told doctors that they can start to get paid on par with an in-person visit. So I'm actually expecting to see a lot of M&A. I'm expecting to see some IPOs because these are companies that have been around since 2009, 2010, and their investors are probably getting itchy at this point. They would like to see a return on their money. And now actually seems like a decent time for some of these companies to raise those final big rounds and then potentially even go out later in the year. And the ones that are in the public markets already, One Medical and Livongo, are doing very well and have continued to grow during the pandemic. So I think you'll see a lot of activity around digital health in the next year or two.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said, that it was, so they had to basically, what were you saying about the reimbursement, that this technology might have existed, but unless they were going to, the government was going to let them get paid for it, I mean, it sounds like that was probably a pretty big rule change.
Yeah, that was one of the big rule changes. Another one was just allowing doctors to be able to treat across state lines. Previously, they had to go and get licensed, and that was a process that could take a few years, cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that has also been relaxed. The reimbursement, and then also just the fact that consumers are now starting to use these tools. And from what I'm hearing, they're really liking it. I mean, once you've had that exposure and you're able to see a doc on your smartphone, if it works and you're told that you can get a prescription right there from home, or you can get the treatment that you need, why go into the doctor's office and wait in a room to see someone for an hour? It's just a much more convenient experience, and now the consumers are starting to see it work. I think it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think you're right. I hear the stories all the time now of people who are so grateful they were able to get medicine without having to go through the hospital or through a doctor's office.